You know that feeling right before a really massive thunderstorm hits?
Oh, absolutely. Like when the air pressure just completely drops.
Yes, exactly. The
Yeah.
sky turns that weird sort of bruised green color and the wind just dies, like completely stops, and every instinct in your body is screaming that something incredibly intense is about to happen.
Yeah, it's a deeply primal sensation. Your nervous system is recognizing a profound environmental shift
Right.
long before your conscious mind even has the vocabulary to describe what's going on.
Yeah, you aren't just predicting the storm, your body is literally already reacting to it.
Exactly. You're feeling it in your bones.
And according to the framework we are unpacking in today's deep dive, you have exactly 35 days until that kind of atmospheric drop hits your own life.
Which is, that's coming up fast.
So fast. We are looking at a roadmap today from our source material for an event called the Gemini Detonator, Navigating Your Spiritual Awakening.
Right, and which is just a fascinating text.
It really is. And since today is May 10th, that gives you just over a month to prepare for a major, unavoidable energetic collision that's happening on June 15th.
Yeah, which makes this the perfect time to dig into this source because, well, whether you track every planetary movement in astrology or you're just, fascinated by intense frameworks for psychological self-reflection, this roadmap offers a really highly specific, actionable guide for the near future. It isn't asking you to just blindly believe in a cosmic event.
Right, it's more practical than that.
Exactly. It's asking you to observe the actual psychological friction it creates in your day-to-day life.
Okay, let's unpack this because the core premise here is that this June 15th Gemini New Moon is, it's not your typical lighthearted, buy a new journal and set some cute intentions kind of fresh start.
Definitely not. No.
Not at all. The text explicitly calls the specific moon a detonator.
Kind of
Like, like it is the starting pistol for a chaotic 30-day spiritual storm. And the warning the source gives is stark.
Very stark. It says most people are going to completely sleepwalk through this entire month.
Right, they're going to get battered by the emotional turbulence and have no idea why. So our mission today is to make sure you, the listener, are equipped to actually wake up, stay grounded, and, navigate the blast zone.
And to do that, we really have to look under the hood at the mechanics.
Yeah, like why this particular moon, right, and why this specific date.
Exactly. So in this framework, Gemini energy is inherently hyperactive. It rules the mind, communication, curiosity. And because it's represented by the twins, it carries this really potent dualistic nature.
Like that constant internal dialogue.
Yes, exactly. That back and forth ping pong match of ideas in your head.
But wait, if Gemini is just about, curiosity and mental speed, shouldn't a new moon in Gemini be an expansive, fun time, like a surge of new ideas?
You'd think so, right?
Yeah. Why is the source calling it a detonator?
Well, because on June 15th, the cosmos are throwing a massive curveball into that fast-moving machinery. Yeah. This specific Gemini new moon is locking into a very tense, really inescapable configuration with two heavy-hitting planetary energies,
And those are...
Neptune and Saturn.
Okay, we need to break those down because that is exactly where the tension is coming from.
Right, so Neptune operates as the archetype of illusions, dreams, and the fog.
The fog, right.
It's the psychological mechanism that allows us to stay comfortable by sort of obscuring harsh realities.
Ignorance is bliss.
Exactly. But then Saturn, on the other hand, is the archetype of strict karma, structural integrity, and accountability.
Wow, so it's the ultimate reality check.
The strictest reality check.
I'm trying to picture how those three forces interact. It's almost like, okay, it sounds like putting a sports car engine, which is that incredibly fast Gemini mind, onto an icy road of Neptune's fog, right? All while Saturn is sitting in the passenger seat, acting as this strict driving instructor who is grading your karmic moves.
That is a brilliant way to conceptualize the friction. Really.
But wait, if thoughts materialize this fast under Gemini, doesn't that mean our anxieties could weaponize against us just as quickly as our positive intentions?
Yes. And what's fascinating here is that the source explicitly warns about exactly that. It says the truth you've been avoiding will literally chase you down until you face it.
Wow.
Because Neptune wants to keep the illusion going. Right. But Saturn demands absolute accountability.
So the tension between those two means hiding just isn't an option anymore.
Hiding is off the table. The detonator essentially strips the drywall off the house to reveal the mold you've been pretending isn't there for years.
Oh, that sounds brutal. So the things you've shoved into the deepest, darkest corners of your mental closet are getting dragged out into the daylight.
Whether you invited them out or not.
Honestly, facing all your hidden truths at lightning speed sounds completely exhausting.
That's a lot.
If this detonator goes off on June 15th, what does the actual fallout look like on the ground over the next month? Let's break down the timeline.
Good idea.
Yeah.
So the author divides this fallout into 3 very distinct sequential phases. And knowing this timeline is how you avoid completely panicking when the foundation of your life starts to shake.
Okay, I have my pen ready. What's phase 1?
Phase 1 is called the identity crack. This runs from June 15th through June 20th. So the immediate 5 days post new moon.
My whole blast zone.
Precisely. And because Gemini rules the concept of the conscious self, this initial phase forces an internal mirror right up to your face. Yeah, the fog of Neptune clears just enough for you to see the totally unvarnished reality of your situation.
Does the text give examples of what that looks like?
It gives some very visceral examples. Like you might be sitting at your desk on a random Tuesday and suddenly realize, with just bone-chilling clarity, that you absolutely hate your career.
Bro.
Or you might be out to coffee with a long-term friend and realize the dynamic is actually a cage that requires you to play small just to keep them comfortable.
There is a quote from the source that really stuck with me for this section.
Oh, which one?
The author calls this phase spiritual surgery.
Yes, such a heavy term.
It is heavy, but it's such a brilliant reframing of the pain. Because surgery hurts, right? It's invasive, it requires cutting things open, you're incredibly vulnerable, but you don't panic on the operating table because you know the cutting is happening to remove a deeper infection.
Exactly. The advice here is to view that sudden, terrifying realization not as a crisis, but as an extraction.
You're being opened up so the truth can get out.
And that internal extraction has to happen before you can move into the world, which takes us into phase 2.
Okay, dates for phase 2.
This one runs from June 21st to July 5th. It's labeled the voice activation.
The voice activation.
Right. During this window, the astrological calendar shifts into Cancer season, which governs the home, emotional bonds, inner circles.
But that hyperverbal Gemini energy is still lingering, right?
Yes, exactly. So the internal realizations from phase 1 suddenly demand external expression.
Oh, so it becomes social.
Completely social. This phase is entirely about vocalizing boundaries. The author notes that you will find yourself saying the word no out loud.
That's terrifying for a lot of people.
Especially to people who are very used to hearing you say yes. You are going to initiate the exact conversations you have spent the last year terrified to have.
But wait, the text also mentions that old drama is going to resurface here, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Which sounds like an absolute nightmare. Why are we dragging up the past when we are trying to establish a totally new identity?
Well, it isn't surfacing to torment you or to pull you backward. It's surfacing so you can finally close the loop.
Because of Saturn.
Exactly. Saturn is demanding structural integrity. You can't build a new boundary on top of an unresolved resentment.
That makes a lot of sense.
You have to finally speak the truth about what happened back then so it stops haunting your present.
Which means things are going to get incredibly loud, relationally speaking.
Very loud.
You are no longer just ruminating in your journal, you are actively restructuring your whole social ecosystem.
Which brings us to phase 3.
The resolution.
Yes, the download. This runs from July 6th through July 15th.
Okay.
This is where the dust finally settles. By the time the next full moon arrives, the framework claims your nervous system will have fundamentally rewired itself to accommodate these new, harder truths and stronger boundaries.
So it's the reward phase.
Exactly. It's the integration. The chaotic, combative energy dissipates, and you are left with deep structural clarity where there used to be anxiety and confusion.
Okay, just knowing this timeline feels like a superpower.
It really does help.
You get the identity crack, you vocalize the boundaries, and then you get the clarity.
Right.
It sounds like a difficult but very clean progression. But, and here's where it gets really interesting, there is a massive trap hiding in the mechanics of this.
A huge trap.
Yeah, the author issues a very strict, non-negotiable warning label for the first 48 hours of the detonator.
They do. And the primary rule of this warning label is a complete, absolute decision ban.
A decision ban?
Yes. The text advises that under no circumstances should you make any permanent life decisions on June 15th or June 16th.
Wait, I have to push back on this, because this feels like a massive contradiction to me.
How so?
Well, the framework is telling us that we're going to be facing these undeniable hard truths about our jobs and our relationships, starting terrifying conversations.
Right.
but it is simultaneously telling us to make absolutely no permanent decisions. How do you have a radical, earth-shattering realization about your life and then just like sit on your hands?
It feels incredibly paradoxical until you look at the psychology of the timeline we just talked about.
Okay, unpack that.
Remember, phase 1, the 15th and 16th, is the identity crack.
Right.
That is a purely internal event. When that illusion drops and you see the truth, your emotional system experiences a massive spike.
Like pure panic.
Exactly. And your immediate human instinct will be to relieve that intolerable pressure by taking drastic action.
Oh, I see.
You'll want to doom scroll, or pick a fight, or quit your job via email at 2 a.m., or blow up a relationship in a text message, just to feel a sense of control over the discomfort.
Because the Gemini mind is moving too fast. So you're basically putting a quarantine on your actions until the emotional spike drops back down to baseline.
Precisely. You observe the crack in the foundation, but you don't grab a sledgehammer while you are still disoriented by the debris.
That is such a good way to put it.
The text warns that the illusion is thickest on those first 2 days, because your ego is desperately trying to protect itself from the new reality.
So when can we act?
You are advised to wait until at least June 18th, when the intellectual Gemini energy has actually processed the emotion, before you mobilize. Let the realization sit in your body before you let it out of your mouth.
That distinction between realization and mobilization is huge. You have to learn to tolerate the discomfort of knowing a truth without immediately needing to fix it.
It's hard work.
It's so hard. And speaking of the things we let out of our mouths, there is another massive warning in this section about the nature of communication right now.
Oh yes, the gossip one.
Yes, the author calls it the gossip boomerang. And even if you strip away all the cosmic astrological elements of this roadmap, the psychology here is absolutely bulletproof.
It truly is. The rule laid out for this Gemini moon is this. If you speak ill of someone, if you engage in petty rumors or try to tear someone down, expect that exact situation to manifest at your own doorstep within 48 hours.
Instant karma.
Literally, instant karma.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the psychological mechanism behind that makes perfect sense.
How so?
Well, gossip is essentially a cheap release valve for anxiety, right? When we feel insecure or overwhelmed by our own internal chaos, like during an identity crack.
Right.
Focusing on someone else's flaws temporarily relieves our own pressure.
It's a great point. But during this month, you are supposed to be doing spiritual surgery on yourself?
Exactly. If you try to outsource that intense hyperverbal energy into tearing someone else down, you are essentially abandoning your own operating table.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and from a strictly practical standpoint, if you are in a highly agitated, fast-moving mental state, which this framework assumes you are during a Gemini moon,
You're going to be sloppy.
you lack the filter to gossip cleanly, you are going to be sloppy. People are going to hear about it.
And Saturn is the archetype of accountability.
Right. When you combine fast-moving, sloppy communication with an immediate cosmic demand for accountability, of course it's going to blow up in your face.
The margin for error with your words simply drops to zero.
The mandate is uncompromising. You must speak with absolute integrity or the intensity of this month will turn on you. The energy is moving way too fast for reckless communication.
Man. Okay, so surviving the storm by waiting out the 48-hour decision ban, actively refusing to participate in the gossip boomerang, that is basically playing defense.
Yes, that keeps you from making things worse.
But the goal of this deep dive isn't just to help you survive. The source material makes it clear we are supposed to alchemize this energy.
We're supposed to use it.
Exactly. We are supposed to use the detonator as a catalyst. And to do that, the author prescribes a very specific, highly physical ritual for the night of June 15th.
It is a fascinating 3-step process, really designed to take all of this abstract, chaotic mental energy and anchor it into the physical world.
Okay, let's walk through it. Step 1.
Step 1 is about isolation from the noise. On the night of June 15th, you're instructed to get a physical piece of paper and a pen.
Old school.
Very. You explicitly cannot use your phone, a laptop, or any digital device.
The analog nature of that is so important, I think. A screen offers way too many escapes. A notification pops up and suddenly you don't have to think about your feelings anymore.
Right. Paper forces you to stay in the room.
So what do you write?
Once you have the paper, you write down a single prompt. The truth I am ready to see is.
Okay. The truth I am ready to see is.
And then you free write. You do not stop the pen from moving for at least 2 solid minutes.
Wow.
You bypass the inner critic entirely, even if the words coming out are ugly, terrifying, or, completely contradictory to the life you've built.
You are essentially capturing the identity crack in real time before your ego has a chance to sanitize it.
Exactly.
Then we move to the second step, which introduces this incredible symbolic action utilizing the twin energy of Gemini.
Right. So once the free writing is complete, you tear that piece of paper squarely into 2 pieces.
So twins.
The twins. One piece of the paper you burn safely, releasing that half of the energy.
Okay.
But the remaining piece you take and place either inside your shoe or directly into your mattress.
I found this instruction to be the most profound part of the entire ritual.
Really?
Yes, because it is such a tactile, almost irritating physical anchor. You are literally walking on or sleeping on your hidden truth.
It is a brilliant psychological mechanism to prevent intellectualization.
What do you mean?
Well, a major trap of Gemini energy is that it loves to analyze a feeling instead of actually feeling it.
Oh, guilty.
Right. If you write down a hard truth and just put the notebook on a shelf, your brain categorizes it as handled.
Checkbox ticked.
Exactly. But if there is a physical piece of paper rubbing against the sole of your foot every time you take a step,
That's annoying.
or sitting under you while you try to sleep, you are forced to live alongside the reality of what you wrote. You cannot escape it.
You are maintaining a continuous physical proximity to your own vulnerability, which naturally sets up the final piece of this ritual, step 3.
The mantra.
Yes. This is a mandate that lasts for the entire 28-day lunar cycle. The instruction is that every single time a coincidence happens, a strange synchronicity, a recurring number sequence on a clock, a chance encounter with someone you were just thinking about, you must say out loud to the empty room, I am paying attention.
I am paying attention. The vocalization is the key here. And this instruction ties back to what is arguably the most profound philosophical insight in the entire text.
Which is?
The author states, energy moves at the speed of your awareness.
I love that. Let that sit for a second. Energy moves at the speed of your awareness. But what does that actually mean in practice?
Think about the baseline threat of this entire astrological event, right? The author warned that most people will completely sleepwalk through it.
Right.
Human beings are incredibly skilled at tuning out weirdness or dismissing uncomfortable signs just to maintain the status quo.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you experience a synchronicity, the default psychological response is to brush it off as a random anomaly.
You're right, we say, oh, that's weird, and then we go immediately back to scrolling on our phones.
Yeah.
But when you physically say the words, I am paying attention out loud, you are manually overriding that default setting.
You're forcing your brain to log the anomaly.
Yes. From a neuroplasticity standpoint, you are repeatedly telling your reticular activating system, the filter in your brain that decides what information is actually important, that these subtle clues matter. You are actively participating in the rewiring of your own nervous system rather than just letting the cosmic weather happen to you.
You are building a habit of acute presence. So what does this all mean? If we zoom out and look at the entire board here, the cosmic tension between Neptune's illusions and Saturn's reality checks,
Right.
the painful identity crack, the quarantine on major decisions, the absolute ban on gossip, and this ritual of physical and vocal awareness, what is the ultimate payoff for you? Why put yourself through this ringer?
Well, the framework sets a very definitive goal line. It promises that if you can stay grounded through the intense friction and the sheer loudness of the Gemini detonator, by the time July 15th arrives and the download is complete, you will emerge as a fundamentally different person.
Free from the fog.
Exactly. The energy you used to spend maintaining your illusions will be freed up. It describes this month as a hyper-accelerated race toward your highest possible timeline.
But it's a transformation born entirely of friction, not ease. You don't get the clarity without surviving the blast.
No, you really don't.
So the directive for you, as we count down to June 15th, is simple, even if it is agonizingly difficult. You need to fiercely protect your peace. You need to tolerate the discomfort of your own truth without immediately trying to fix it.
Exactly.
And above all, you need to pay attention. The atmospheric pressure is dropping, the storm is coming, but now you have the roadmap to navigate it.
But all of these mechanics and methodology raises a much larger, lingering question.
Oh.
One that really challenges the foundation of how we view these frameworks.
Okay.
The source claims that energy moves at the speed of your awareness, and it uses this specific, rare astrological alignment as the necessary catalyst to force that awareness upon us.
Right. The detonator is what forces you to finally wake up.
This raises an important question. If pure, focused, fearless awareness is the actual mechanism that alchemizes our reality, does the moon really hold the power?
Oh, wow.
Or is a cosmic event like this simply a massive permission slip we give ourselves to finally do the psychological work?
A placebo almost.
Maybe. Think about it. If you were able to cultivate that exact level of acute attention, facing your most terrifying truths, refusing to gossip, vocalizing your boundaries, and manually overriding your autopilot.
Without waiting for June 15th.
Exactly, without waiting for a celestial detonator. Could you trigger this kind of accelerated spiritual evolution anytime you choose?